Hey guys, Craig here with GeekTech.ie, back with another video, and today we're taking a look at the Nexus 9 from HTC slash Google. This is the latest tablet in the Nexus series, which sees the inclusion of a completely vanilla version of Android, with the odd, tweaks there, customizations with the hardware and stuff, be seen fitted of the manufacturer, which in this case is HTC. So basically just a quick intro to the video. We're going to be talking about the design, running through the specs of the device, and giving a quick and overall conclusion of the device after using it for the last couple of weeks, and seeing pretty much given the entire opinion we have for this tablet, and pretty much what it's like to use as a daily tablet, and see if it's a worthy upgrade, and see exactly the approach that HTC and Google have taken for their latest Nexus tablet device. But yeah, this is just a quick intro. We're going to be running through all the things now. It's going to be pretty beefy video, so there's going to be a lot of things to talk about. So we're going to give a nice run through on the Nexus 9. We're going to start off by taking a look at the box and talking about then moving on to the device design and stuff, and giving a run through on what it has included spec wise. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We also have a gameplay video as well for the Nexus 9, which we take a look at Dead Trigger 2, GTA San Andreas, and Modern Combat 5, which you can also check out. I'll throw a link for that down in the description as well. So let's get the video going. Okay, so this is the box. It does come with a USB charger and a USB cable, but that's pretty much it. There's no earphones or headphones in it, at least there wasn't the review unit I was sent out. Just got a big joint 9 on it. That's pretty much it. Again, this is a pretty bog standard box. I mean, literally it's just completely white with the number 9 on it. Very subtle, very straightforward from HTC. This is the charger that it comes with. I'm going to zoom in there just so you can see. It is a 1.5 amp 5 volt charger. I know from testing, I haven't actually used this one because it's a 2-pin, and there's no point using 2-pin adapter thing. I have tons of USB chargers, but I have charged the device with a 2 amp 5 volt charger, and it took about 4.5 hours, give or take, to go from 0% to 100%. I was completely dead. So if you're charging from that speed, from completely dead, it'll take about 4.5 hours, give or take, with a 2 amp charger. I don't know if this one will take any longer, but I'm guessing it'll probably be around the same amount of time. But that's pretty much it for the box there. And then we're going to move over and take a look at the tablet design itself, and talk about the specs as well. Okay, so this is the tablet itself, and we're just going to give a quick run through around the device and show off the design that HTC have gone with on the tablet. If you've used a HTC device before, you can kind of get some of the similarities between its design and previous HTC devices, but just for the record, this is the first tablet HTC have ever made, and they've done a pretty good job design wise, and the specs and all are pretty amazing, and they're all top notch pretty much. So basically, straight off the bat, it is an 8.9 inch display. It's IPS LCD, and it is a 4:3 ratio. So just for the record, it's a little different than what most Android tablets are. So pretty much, the only time that's ever going to be an issue is if you're watching TV shows and stuff. It's going to have a different kind of a format to it. But nonetheless, the ratio is much more comfortable for most things, including browsing the internet, playing games, and holding the device in general. It's a much more nicer feel. It's not as wide, so your hands aren't as far apart. Even the stuff as keyboard is going to be a little easier. But again, 4:3 ratio, just so you know. Okay, so display, yeah, we have a 2048 by 1536 resolution, so it's fairly high res. It's not the highest res display we've seen from a tablet or a smartphone in terms of pixels per inch. I believe it's 230, give or take. So it's not that high, but it is pretty solid, and the display quality is pretty good. Brightness is very, very, very good. As you can see, I have it at full brightness now just so you can see it, but I've got 2 studio lights pointing at it from the sides here, but it still bleeds through nicely, and you can read the detail and stuff. Okay, so on the inside we have the NVIDIA Tegra K1 chipset. This is the first tablet besides the NVIDIA Shield. As far as I know, it's the first. I know there's other markets that have tablets and stuff, but it's the first tablet bar the NVIDIA Shield tablet that has the NVIDIA Tegra K1 chipset. That includes a dual-core Denver CPU at 2.3 GHz, although I have noticed with Geekbench, which I'm actually going to show you there real quick, it says 2.5 GHz. As you can see right there real quick. I'll zoom in. As you can see. So I'm not sure if it actually is 2.5 GHz or if it's 2.3 as the official spec state. But I'm guessing that's just due to the way Geekbench is picking up on the information, or just slightly clocked higher. But nonetheless, we also have the Kepler DX1 GPU and 2 GB of RAM. So pretty much spec-wise, it's hard, I know, for people to know straight off the list, just by talking about the specs, that you're not going to know where this thing lies. But it's pretty much one of the fastest devices available on the market. I mean, it beats the Note 4 with the Snapdragon 805 chipset. I haven't seen anything with the Snapdragon 810, so I don't know whether or not that will come in slightly ahead and stuff, and then with the Exynos stuff. But yeah, in terms of performance and fluidity and stuff, this thing is pretty much the best on the market. It does have Android 5.0, so it does get a lot of advantages from the better performance from that regard as well, which we're going to kind of go into now in a while. But I just want to get through the specs here. So 16 gigabyte internal storage, sadly no micro SD slot, but I will talk about that later in the conclusion. 8 megapixel rear facing camera with an LED flash, and a 1.6 megapixel front facing with 720p support. Sorry, the back one has 1080p support, just for the record. And we also have all the basic connections, including Wi-Fi, ABG, NAC, dual band 5 GHz support, Bluetooth 4.1, and a GPS and GLONASS satellite support with connection wise. But before I'm going to just run around the device here just so you can get a better look at it. I hope that focus is okay for you. As you can see there up on the top here, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, and I'm guessing this is like a split for the antenna, as you can see there. Kind of like a piece of plastic between the metal here. I think we've seen that before, so I'm guessing that's for an antenna or antennae to pass through. Zoom in there just so you can see that better. Here we have the volume rocker and the power button. Pretty straightforward, and then I'm guessing that's a microphone slot as well. And on the bottom we have the micro USB 2.0 port. Let that focus there. Yeah, so that's pretty much all of their USB on the go host support is included with this as well, which you'll notice in our gameplay video. I used the Xbox 360 joypad, which is fully supported on the tablet, which is very nice to see. And that's the last side there, which there's nothing. This is the back. Pretty straightforward. Complete white material, and then the HTC logo and the Nexus logo there. I'll just zoom back out there. So here's the camera. 8 megapixel with LED flash, 1080p video support. It's not the best camera, but I will talk about that more in the conclusion. So yeah, that's pretty much the design of the tablet. Again, it's a 4:3 ratio. One of the nicest things I like about the front facing camera is that it's sort of centered in the middle there. So if you're using it for a video chat like that, your face is centered and it's not off shifted to the left or the right, which I've seen with other tablets. I'm not sure if you can see that there. I'll just zoom in. You can sort of see it there. It's right there in the center anyway, but that's a nice little touch. I do like that. Some tablets have it in the middle rather than off to the left or the right, which most smartphones have. But again, that's pretty much it for the specs. The conclusion is going to be a nice breakdown of the display, the camera, the performance, and the general usability and opinions on the device itself. But right now we're just going to jump in and do a quick benchmark, just so you can kind of get an idea of the performance yourselves. I'm connected to Wi-Fi there, so this should run through pretty fast. Opinion on performance. Okay, so pretty much I've been using the tablet now for a while. It's hard to do a comparison between this and previous tablets because most of the other ones I've been using have been running either Android 4 or in some cases Windows 8. So it's not exactly a fair comparison there. But with Android 5 on board, this thing does get a lot of advantages above them, and this is one of the fastest times I've seen Geekbench run. And we can straight away, I don't think it's the highest multi-core score I've ever seen, but it's definitely one of the highest single-core scores that I have definitely seen coming from a tablet. That kind of performance is pretty epic. And you can run through it there, and you can see all the different results from all the different tests that this benchmark actually runs. But again, that's pretty insane support right there. So I don't think anyone's going to be running into performance issues with this tablet. Again, you can check out the gameplay performance and you can get a better idea. I'm going to run through this real quick, and I'm just going to show you the results here. As you can see, I ran the test before, 57,877. So just for the record, that's about 10,000 points, give or take. I think it's more like 8,000, 9,000 above the Galaxy Note 4, which is one of the latest smartphones with the latest Snapdragon Qualcomm hardware. So I mean, and if you've seen my review of the Galaxy Note 4, you see that that's one of the best performing devices, smartphones. I mean, performance hasn't really been an issue with smartphones for the last 2 years, I guess. I haven't really seen any devices, flagship devices being released, and they've just been completely like woeful or anything like that, where, you know, I haven't noticed any real lag in the last while. It just goes double for this device. I mean, this is the highest results I've seen with Antutu, and performance on this device is just, it's unreal. It's definitely on the top of the list, and that's thanks to the NVIDIA Tegra K1 chipset that's included with this, which I don't think we're ever going to see in smartphones. I think it's just pretty much a tablet slash, you know, I don't know what else we're actually going to see it in, maybe laptops and stuff, netbooks, or sorry, ultrabooks, or whatever you want to call them, hybrids and stuff in the future, because it's definitely a great performing chipset. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for performance. But again, I'm going to jump over to the conclusion now, and it's pretty much just going to be me talking about the opinions on this after using it for a while. But I just wanted to give you a quick look at a benchmark before I jumped into the conclusion, and I will talk about the device itself and what it's like been using it for the last while. Okay, now it's time to break down the device itself and kind of give a quick kind of some of it's kind of scripted and some of it's kind of, you know, free thought opinion on the HTC Nexus 9. I have, as I said in the beginning of the video, I have been using this for the last couple of weeks, and my overall opinion of this is that I love this tablet. This tablet is insane. There's a lot of features I like about it, there's other things that HTC have included, and again, a lot of it's based on the operating system itself and Android 5.0. So what I want to do before I kind of started talking about it, and pretty much what I kind of want to do while I'm talking about it, is kind of give a run through the device itself. So I plan on kind of just running through the operating system and just talking about it there in general. So Android 5 has seen a lot of additions and features and enhancements. A lot of it is behind the scenes in terms of performance improvements, and I mean that's insanely evident throughout using this device. I mean, this thing is the most smoothest experience I have seen from an Android tablet. It's just from an Android device in general. I mean, I cannot wait for Android 5.0 to be trickling down into other devices. I have a Note 4 myself, and I cannot wait for it to launch on that. I have seen videos of the leaked ROM running on the Note 3, and the performance gains and the UI and stuff has just been absolutely insane, the advancements there. So I mean, the Nexus device is one of the most popular series simply because it removes bloatware, junkware, crapware, anything that you don't want or need in a tablet. I mean, people get stuck with this stuff all the time when they buy another device. But with a Nexus device, you don't have anything like that to worry about. You pretty much buy the tablet, you get it, you open it, you've got vanilla Android, you've pretty much got all the options there for customization. And that's another reason why Android is so popular, is because, I mean, right now, if I don't like this launcher, which I absolutely love, I could just go into the Play Store and get one of a dozen amazing ones with third-party support, customizations, and things that I could definitely take advantage of. But right away, this one performs epically, and it's quick and it's easy, and that's exactly why I like it, and that's exactly why I use it. But again, that can be said about most aspects of Android itself, is where if I don't like something, I can probably more than likely go to the Play Store and pick from tons of different versions of the exact same software, and they can probably do it better, or if not, just slightly different with customization options. But with Android 5, there are a few things that I like that have been added. One of the main things that I definitely like is the multi-user support. So basically, if you can see it here, I can't actually zoom in properly right now. I have a kind of a macro lens filter thing attached, but I'm hoping that's in focus there and you can see the screen okay. But right here, so I'll just do that again so you can see it. If I bring down here, you can see users, and I just clicked on add another user. It's a new user, hasn't been set up or anything, but you can see here what I'm talking about. You can see I can actually add multiple users, and everyone can have their own account, and pretty much their entire system is completely separate. So it's pretty much their own tablet, their own virtual tablet inside Android, their own list of apps, their own user logins and stuff like that. So that's been a feature I know people have been waiting for. I know I've been waiting for, and it's finally here, and it works amazing, and it's fantastic, and it's one of the best features that Android 5 has. Pretty much everything else aspect wise, they've introduced a material design thing that pretty much it's supposed to kind of give developers kind of a direction for design, so everything seems a little bit more fitting, I guess. I guess that's more of an iOS kind of way of looking at it, where they want everything to work the same way, look similar, and act the same way, I guess. So, and it is clear that they kind of want a direction for design and not just complete freedom, but it's not a force. So you don't have to do it that direction. But it is nice to see a little bit of restraint in that regard, so we don't get random looking apps and stuff. But again, it's not a force or anything like that. I will jump into the settings here, and you can kind of see the layout just so you get an idea here. But again, not much has changed design wise. It's the color and the shift and stuff. You can see differences, but not structural differences, if that makes sense. Everything is where it used to be. It's just slightly looks different. That's it. One of the nice changes I've seen that's actually pretty subtle is the notification icons, and if you've got one up here as well, they're no longer distinctive icons or colors. They're just the silhouettes of those icons themselves. I've noticed it with a few. So basically, if you look there, you can actually see that it's just the icons are just like the white shadows or white silhouettes of what previous icons on other devices would have been, on previous Android devices, would have been more detailed, I guess, or the actual icon itself. So that's a pretty nice touch. It's just, it kind of, I know that's such a small thing, but it's nice. I like it. But the UI and stuff, again, it's completely vanilla Android, so there's not pretty much a lot I can talk about with this tablet to say that this one's better. But if you want vanilla Android, you want that smooth experience that's completely, your decision on what you're running and stuff, and there's no bloatware, stuff that you just don't want, and sometimes you have to root or stuff to get rid of it. This is a tablet you should definitely be looking at. This type of tablet that you start up, you run, it's yours. There's nothing there. There's nothing prompting you to buy into something or use a specific service. It's your tablet. So that's one of the features that I like about the Nexus series, and another benefit for the Nexus 9 itself. One thing I will talk about hardware wise, there's a few things I want to talk about. One thing I want to point out straight away is the speakers that HTC have included. They've included their frontal boom sound. Now the boom sound thing is just like an equalizer type of thing, but the frontal speakers are pretty fantastic. I will jump into playing music there. I'm hoping I can play a song or something I can play here just so you guys get a look at it. In fact, I'll jump into a game here, and hopefully that will do the same thing, and you guys get a look at that, the sound. What I will do is turn the volume up. Oh, sorry, wrong way. Now I am using a mic, so I don't know how well that will pick up on the mic, because it's a lapel mic, so it's not stereo or anything, but the speakers are fantastically loud, and it's nice to see that on tablet. HTC have, it'd probably be wise for me to back out of this while I'm talking, sorry about that. But yeah, as I said, it's nice to see that HTC with their tablet, I think they've always done great work with their speakers on their phone, so the HTC M7, the M8. So it's fantastic to see that on a tablet, because I know a lot of people will be watching videos and stuff like that, and they won't want to be using earphones if they're going to be sharing it, or two people watching it and stuff. Earphones are just not an option. in most cases. So the speakers in this are fantastic, and watching movies, TV shows, videos, and whatnot are an enjoyable experience on this tablet because of that. So that's one of the nice additions that I know HTC made sure to include on this in their first tablet. So it's nice to see that they had the wits to do that. Because to be honest with you, I think that should be the case with every smartphone. I don't care if people complain that, oh, you're copying one thing. I don't care. 2 speakers, 2 loudspeakers on a smartphone just makes sense, and having them pointing towards you. It just makes sense. That's it. There's no other way about it. Okay, so hardware wise, performance, again, I've talked about that already in the previous part of the video where I was showing off the benchmarks. It is insane. This thing, the NVIDIA Tegra K1 chipset is it's off the charts. It really is. It's the top performing thing I've seen on Antutu 4.5 or 5.1, whatever it's at now. I'm actually not sure. I don't think it says it, but yeah, as you can see there, 57,877, 5.5. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can see it right there. That's the Galaxy Note 4. That's the Nexus 9, and you can see that blue bar is a good bit ahead of the Note 4. And I mean, with devices generations, you can see the kind of jumps that we've seen before. I mean, you can see these small little jumps here, but this, I mean, that just takes the cake right there. That's a nice big leap in performance, and this is the type of tablet that will last a good few generations in terms of performance. I don't think you're going to see it being outperformed by a smartphone soon, simply because the NVIDIA Tegra chipset, I don't think it's ever going to be in a smartphone itself. It might be, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I mean, I just don't see, because that thing is a powerhouse. I don't, power-wise, I don't see them putting that into a smartphone at all. But yeah, so performance is top-notch. It's one of the best you're going to see, so there's no complaints there. In fact, if you want one of the best performing tablets, the Nexus 9 is the way to go. I know the NVIDIA Shield has it as well, that tablet, so you can either go that direction. But with this, another design thing that I like is the 4:3 ratio. It is way more comfortable to use, way more enjoyable. It's more lightweight. Like it's just with the wider screens, it always feels like you're carrying something big regardless. And I think that's the reason when the Nexus 7 was smaller. It had a 16:10 ratio display, but when you go with 16:9 or 16:10, you kind of have to go with a smaller footprint display size wise, because I mean, I've used 10-inch devices, 9-inch devices when they're 16:9, and they just feel way too wide. So a 4:3 just makes it a little bit nicer to hold, and form factor wise, it's just more comfortable in the end. So that's another one of those benefits there. Enjoyment wise, some people may not like the 4:3 thing, because I mean, with tablets, a lot of it is content consumption, the aspect of it. So I can see like things like Netflix and stuff, when you're watching TV shows which are predominantly in 16:9 ratio. I actually was watching, ironically, I was watching Scrubs, which the first few seasons were 4:3 ratio. So it was a very nice experience on this tablet because of the loudspeakers and such. Very bright, and it was very enjoyable, so that was very nice. But other things, you will start seeing black bars. In most cases that's not a big deal, but in some cases it can be annoying, and I will show you why. I'm just going to type in here, one sec, black image. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this on screen, if it's going to work properly, but what I want to do is just, you're going to see a lot of fingerprints. I don't know if this is going to show up well, especially at this brightness. It doesn't look it, but there's a decent amount of light bleed that was coming from this screen. I don't think I can show it on this at all. There's way too many fingerprints there, which I guess some people find annoying, but I guess that's just something we have to live with tablets, but you know, with touchscreens and all that. Yeah, so one of the things, sorry, it's actually already on, I forgot. Yeah, so one of the things was there was a decent amount of light bleed coming from the corners, which is a sad thing to see in this day and age. I mean, I thought that was a thing of the past. We shouldn't really be seeing that in devices at all. But there is a significant amount of light bleed around the corners and such, which in most cases aren't annoying when you're using a 16:9 tablet. If you're watching something, there's no black bars unless you're watching a movie, there would be. But in this case, there's going to be black bars with most of the content you're watching, so there it's more visible. So I mean, technically you could say that other tablets probably have it as well, but it's just not as noticeable. But this, I've definitely picked up on it more because of its ratio. So, but not a deal breaker in any sense of regard, but just nonetheless, it is there. So that's something that needs to be talked about. One thing I did there as well, I actually haven't talked about, is the fact that you can double tap to wake up the device. I saw that with the LG G3, and I swear to God, that's actually incredible, because with tablets and such, hitting the power button, which is typically always there, but you could pick up the device like this and go, oh, it's not there, and then have to turn around. But now I've gotten used to just having the double tap the screen and it will wake up. So that's a very nice feature to have. I'm guessing that uses the accelerometer. I don't think that's any specific tech built into the display or anything like that. I'm not sure. I'm actually not 100% on that. I think it used the accelerometer to guess whether or not you've double tapped it by analyzing the way it moved or whatever. But nonetheless, it's nice to see that function is there. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for design and performance. Camera wise, it's crap. It's just not good at all. I mean, I don't know if it's just got to do with the fact that there's no dedicated app or anything like that. But I will take a picture of, hang on, what did I cook there? Hang on. In highlight, like, you know, in well lit areas, it's not the worst. But in low light, it's just terrible. It's just not a good camera. I mean, to be honest with you though, I don't even remotely fault a tablet for having a bad camera, because ultimately I just don't think anyone's ever going to use this as a main camera. I know the whole saying is that you have, if it's the best camera you have is the one you have with you, but I just don't think anyone's ever going to have one of these with them and not their smartphone, or, you know, in the case where they need to take a picture. And if this was the only camera you had with you, it's not so bad that the picture's going to suck or anything like that. It's just, I don't put emphasis on the best possible camera in a smartphone, or sorry, in a tablet. So it's just one thing that it is it's not the best camera. It's not the shittest camera I've ever seen or anything like that, but it's definitely not one of the best. It's, in fact, it's one of the bad ones in terms of, it is a high resolution. It is 8 megapixels, so it's not there's all those cheap tablets available and the cameras are just by far the worst things I've ever seen. It's not that bad. It's nowhere near that bad. I just want to make that clear. It's just, I've gotten so used to all the good cameras in smartphones and such, so when I look at a tablet camera, I don't expect greatness, but I expect decency or anything like that. In terms of camera performance, not the sense that a tablet should have a decent camera, but just in general, I expect all cameras now in devices, technology and such to be great, because they can be. But yeah, it's just not something I'm concerned about. The 1.6 megapixel on the front, I would have liked it if it was had 1080p support on the front, because again, I mean, Skype, I use Skype a good bit on this, and it's a great little function to have. So that would have been a nice addition if they had included a better camera on the front there, at least one that did better in low light. And again, that kind of stems from the Galaxy Note 4, because I've gotten used to that camera, and it's fantastic in low light in terms of and it's 1080p support as well, so I like that. So in terms of performance on that side, it's something I've kind of gotten used to. And then when I use this, it's just not the best in low light, but nonetheless, there is a decent camera there. It's a decent camera, just for the record. It's just not it's not groundbreaking or anything like that. And there are certain aspects of this tablet that are fantastic, and performance, usability and stuff is one of them. Design is very nice. No doubt people are going to compare this to the iPad Air, which they should, because it's very, very similar. But I don't think that's on purpose or by design or anything like that. I think that's just 4:3 ratio display at 8.9 inches. I mean, you're kind of limited by usability, and the same principle that Apple would have come to design their tablets at certain sizes and stuff. I mean, this is what you end up with. You do the same level of research and stuff and find out what usability, what people like, what people be comfortable with, and this is pretty much what they got. So I mean, there's not really much else they could have done in terms of design. So I mean, that's just one of those things. But I do like the design of this. We've got the metal frame and the plastic back. I noticed there was some talk about this being kind of, you could push it in. If I can kind of show it there, if you hit it, it does go in like a millimeter. Now I don't know if this is like, because it's been used before, it's been pushed in a good bit, so it doesn't pop out anymore or anything like that. But I mean, that even if it did come in and out, I don't think that would have bothered me. I don't know. That's the point. Just for this one itself, it doesn't go in and out. As you can see, it's fine. So yeah, so that's pretty much the tablet itself. In terms of design, we talked about design, the performance, things I've liked, things I've disliked. Charging time, I charged it with a 2 amp, a 5 volt 2 amp charger. It was an Asus one, so I don't know if it's going to be less if you use the bog standard one that it comes with, which is a 1.5 amp. I'm guessing it's not going to be that much different. But from zero, completely dead, wouldn't turn on, it took 4 hours and 40 minutes. I think it was 4 hours and 41 minutes to be exact. So yeah, so I mean, it took a good long time to charge. It is a 6,700 milliamp battery, but performance of the battery is pretty insane. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff on this today. I've actually did the gameplay video and stuff. I've been using it a good bit. I've been like, it's on a full battery test. I haven't done that yet. Because I mean, I have been using it, but I haven't set out to do a battery test. I don't typically set out to do a battery test. I set out to kind of monitor my usage and monitor the power from 100% down. But I've been using a good bit today. It's been connected to Wi-Fi the entire time. But the thing about tablets are, the thing that makes batteries tests a little weird is that a lot of the time a tablet's going to sit around on standby doing nothing. So, I mean, obviously tablets are bigger, so they have larger batteries, so they're going to do much better than smartphones in general. But because most of the tablets people have, they don't use 3G or 4G. I mean, this one is a complete Wi-Fi standard one, so there's no radio or anything like that that's constantly communicating. And it's not like a smartphone where it's constantly communicating for phone calls, messages and stuff. So in regards to that, when this goes into standby, it can, save a lot of juice. I mean, I've left this thing for a few days on standby and only lost a couple of percentage, and that was with Wi-Fi still active, so it was actually still pulling updates. So yeah, performance. I have left it, as I said, I've left this for a few days and I've only lost a few percent battery wise. So I'm very impressed with the standby durability, in the sense that you could leave this for a good while, come back to it and it would be fine. So I like that aspect. Longevity wise, if the yoke is at 50%, and this is pretty much just me guessing from my usage over the past couple of weeks, because I don't like the idea of doing a test. I'm just going to turn it back up. I don't know why I turned it back down. I don't like the idea of doing a specific test and just leaving like a loop on a video or something like that, because I don't think anyone's ever going to have a tablet playing a video for 10 hours straight. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I don't know anyone who would. So it's a little bit of a weird thing, because in some aspects, if you're browsing the internet and stuff, using the touchscreen, using performance and stuff, that might drain the battery more than another tablet. So if you get a tablet because it says it's got a 12-hour battery, like rating wise, versus this one's 8-hour performance in the test, you may find out that using the 12-hour one as an actual tablet and playing games or doing anything more performance wise may end up using more power and lasting less. So I use it as an actual tablet, which includes, for the day I kind of monitored, it was a lot of gameplay. Well, not a lot of gameplay, but a decent amount of gameplay, about half an hour to an hour's worth of gameplay, a good bit of Netflix, as I said, I was watching Scrubs, and a few Skype calls, checking email, browsing the internet, all the things that I would do with a tablet during the day. I also used the EOS remote to connect it up to the camera that you're seeing right now, through the USB cable, or this one was through Wi-Fi, and that was pretty much, it was like I got all day out of it. I had a good 40-something% left, and that was from using it from 10 a.m. all the way down up to about 12 o'clock that night. And I used it a decent amount. There was a few hours of standby where it was just sitting there doing nothing, and I think I lost like 1%. So battery level on this is pretty epic. I really like it. And that's pretty much my overall opinion on this, is that it does a lot of things great. It's not the best. I don't think it's the best tablet out there. I mean, there's a lot of tablets out there where the reason why it's not the best is the price. if I'm not mistaken, it's €400 or $399 for this tablet. So in terms of price, I know there's a lot of things people could get out there that are going to be a lot cheaper alternatives and do a lot of the same tasks. But the thing about this tablet, and the reason why this is going to be one of my favorites, is because the performance is epic, the usability, the comfortability using it. I really enjoyed using it. So in that regard, I thought it was fantastic, and that's the reason why I think a lot of people are going to choose this one. I know it's €389. Sorry, I was just checking out to confirm as well. So €389. It's much more expensive than what the Nexus 7 was, but again, it offers so much more than what the Nexus 7 did. It has a much bigger display in terms of performance. It's, again, state of the art. This thing's ahead of everything. Battery longevity is fantastic. It has all the bells and whistles that you would want in terms of a tablet. I mean, there's no existential features, but I mean, the front-facing speakers are an absolute guarantee enjoyment. I mean, I can't imagine anyone's going to go, whatever. That's something I think should have been on every tablet or every device from now on, and I'm glad HTC included it. For HTC's first tablet, this is a fantastic thing. I know Google would have had a lot of say in this. Like, I mean, I know they handled most of it, but I mean, there's still those little bits of HTC in it, and I know the design, a little bit of it came from HTC as well, and the front-facing speakers definitely speaks to that. It's Android 5, completely vanilla, so I mean, the experience of performance there, UI and everything is fantastic. Again, there's really nothing negative other than the lack of a decent camera on the front and back. Not so much the back. I mean, the back 8 megapixels is good enough that for a tablet to get you by. Front, I would have liked it if it had 1080p support. It would have made a little bit of a difference. And the lack of micro SD is probably my biggest gripe or biggest issue with this tablet. It's the only thing that makes me go, why Google, HTC, why would you even remotely think that's a good idea? This is a 16 gigabyte tablet. Those decisions where they don't include extra storage options, it's just, I mean, right now I know there's a few games installed there, but there's only 2.85 gigabytes available on this tablet. I mean, if I I play GTA a little, I guess, but Dead Trigger 2 and Modern Combat 5, they're pretty much there solely for this test at the moment. But if I did play these games a lot, or if I did enjoy them a lot, if I did want to, I mean, a tablet is content consumer. I mean, the content consumption. This is the reason why they exist, is for content and for people to enjoy stuff, browse the internet, download games, play games, download videos, watch videos, music, all those kind of things. This, in a lot of situations, it's not always a connected device, but yeah, I guess you could say that this thing is designed to be connected to the internet, so most of that content should be elsewhere. I get it. But 60 gigs is just not enough, not in this day and age. I mean, I had an N900 Nokia from a few years ago. That had a 32 gigabyte memory, and it had a micro SD slot. I mean, that was 5 years ago. I mean, come on, we've gotten to a stage where 32 gigabytes should be the bare minimum if you don't want a micro SD slot. And even then, that's me just saying that's a compromise. You should always include a micro SD slot. I mean, just why not? I mean, why not? There's no reason not to. Could have been that much of a hassle to just, take a little bit chunky out there, boom, micro SD slot, away you go. There is no reason not to have it. And that's my only real gripe with this tablet, is the lack of expandable storage. Once you pick your device 16 gigs, that's it, that's all you get. So that's pretty much the only downside to this tablet. Everything else, performance, display quality, usability, reliability, longevity with the battery has all been fantastic, and I really enjoyed using it. And that's pretty much it for the review on the Nexus 9. I know this has been a very long review and conclusion and stuff, but again, it's a rather important device, because I'm hoping they learn in the future and stuff, it's one of those things that when you get a new device, you hope it's everything you want it to be, and that's really why these reviews are kind of important. I mean, it's why it's why I check up reviews on content or purchases and stuff, is so I can find out whether or not it'll be something I will enjoy, and that's the reason why I hope people enjoy this as well. So that's pretty much it for the review on the Nexus 9. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely check out the gameplay video for it as well. Again, we take a look at GTA San Andreas, Dead Trigger 2 and Modern Combat 5. And it's a quick run through. I mean, it's probably about 20 minutes long, give or take. And you can kind of get an idea on the performance of this thing. And such. It's not it's not a 16:9 display, so the video for the gameplay is a little weird because I kind of tuck in the entire tablet, but nonetheless you can check that out if you wish. Again, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. You can check out the full review on the site, which is pretty much a breakdown of the specs and conclusion again, but in a written format. Don't know why you would check it again because you're after watching this, but just in case you want to take a look at some of the things, I will be including some photos and stuff in that as well, so just in case you want to take a look at the camera quality. I don't do any for the front facing cameras because, to be honest with you, that's pretty much only ever used for video and such, and that's more environmental based and such, so not really something you can gauge. But again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and definitely check out other ones. I really appreciate if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel. Definitely have more videos in the future, and again, thanks for watching.